Welcome to Orca Swim School, to a coaching session. So this particular session is going to be more about understanding how our brain operates from wanting to make a change. So little less on the, I'm not going to have swimming technique in this one. It's going to be about what we need to have go on here in order to make change happen. So we are really change experts. When people come to us, come to me, they say, I want to make a change. Right now, I'm like this, and I have my eyes set on this over here. I want to have a change. And so our program is all about the foundations of change. And historically, for many, many years, it's been people saying, I am this kind of swimmer or lack of swimmer, and I want to become that kind of swimmer. Now, I say historically because we are moving into some new and fun and wonderful territory. And I previewed that on one of my previous episodes, but today I'm going to lean more into it at the end. I'm actually going to lean into a really special offer because I'll be using this to demonstrate change. I've been one way and I'm moving to another way. We have always brought these life skills of how life works in the water and we've applied it into the water. And now I am taking it back out of the water and helping people apply it to life with life coaching. So more on that later. Today, I'm going to give us a little review of how change happens, how we go from I'm here to I want to be here. And so that's going to be a quick overview because I want to give you some new stuff that I haven't given you before, which is our motivation triad, is what really motivates us and how to move beyond that stuck place. All right, so with that, let's get started. So as a review, we're going to start with that foundation of change. Here is the symbol that we use, the delta symbol. Really, people usually draw a delta symbol like that. We have it like this because we start at this fine tippy point, which is you. If you want to make change, you have to start with you, where you are right now. So in the case of swimming, right now, that has to do with your swim story. I just got done with the lesson, got wet hair to show it. I have to start with the student's story. What you say about yourself, what your history has been, where you are, what your desires are, what are the thoughts and feelings that are going on right now in this place. You might wish and hope that you learned to swim when you were a kid, or that you were like Michael Phelps or Esther Williams, right? But you're not. I'm not either of those things. I did learn to swim as a kid, but I certainly am not a Michael Phelps or even an Esther Williams. But I am a swimmer. And so it's about understanding where you and where you want to go. So we have to, the foundations of change always starts with you. And then we move up to the next corner, which is healing. Now, you might be thinking, well, I haven't had any trauma. My life has been good. Why do I need to have healing? Well, the healing part, the healing front, and the healing area has a lot to do with what you say about you. We are not very nice to ourselves. We are not our own best friends, our own advocates, right? We say things about ourselves and to ourselves that you would never say to other people. This is one of the aspects of the healing. We get stuck into thoughts that are circular, right? And we kind of spin in this area, like I have to know everything, or I'm spending lots of time working it over in my head, right? These are really good and convenient ways to not have change. So this is there's lots that goes into the healing corner, but we have to have this healing corner to take where you are and to really have gentleness and kindness and understanding around it. So you can move to the third corner, which is the learning. So we have our learning edge here. So we start with where we are, not where we hope to be or we wish we were or regret that we're not, but where we really are. We bring gentleness and healing so we can have curiosity of learning. And we take you through those steps with learning to swim, and now we're taking you through those steps with life coaching out of the pool as well. So like one of the areas that I'm making a big change in, you could put in the middle here is your goal, right? I'm wanting to make change around a particular goal. So one of the areas I wrote up about is, for me, is I'm making a change in who I am as a parent, because I'm now a parent for the very first time of a child who doesn't live in my house, who is a very tender newbie 18-year-old, just went to college adult. And oh my gosh, you know, I need to go through this process. I'm now in this learning process of what does it mean? I'm having this curiosity piece of what does it mean to be a parent of an adult child? I don't know. I've never done it before. So I have to know where I am. I'm just a tender newbie baby at that. That's good. It's fine. It's full of lots of feelings. There's a lot of mind drama of not being sure I want to be here and being excited that I'm here, right? That's the healing part of it. When I allow for all of me and all of my experience, I allow for that it was totally fine that I cried from Montana to Idaho after dropping him off. You know, that allows me to go into the learning part, to learn whatever it is I need to learn to be an amazing parent to an adult child. And that's where I want to go. I was a different kind of parent before. Now I'm leaning into a new kind of parent. In the same way, he's leaning into a new life himself. All right, so this is the foundation of change, what we work on and what we teach on all the time. Now, the new stuff I wanted to bring to you today, or a new paradigm to bring to you, is I'm going to take away all these little words here. Actually, I'm going to take the whole thing away. Start again. We like our triangles. Ooh, that pen decided to stop working. So I'm going to stick with my triangle. I'm going to move my foundation of change triangle over here, right? This is our motivational triad. I'm going to fill in here. This one is our foundation of change. That starts with you and healing and learning. Okay? If I want to make change, I'm going to go through this process. Now, something has to happen before I actually start doing this process of the change, which is the motivation. I just said motivation triad. This is about how your brain works. It's really useful to understand this triad so that you can use it for you instead of holding it against yourself. So there's three things that our brain likes to do. This is a normal part of our brain. The first one is conservation of energy. E-N-E-R-G-Y. Conservation of energy. So what does that mean? That means you could use the word habit in here. Our brain wants to, at a real primitive place, it wants to really just conserve energy. If you think about animals, they're like, I eat, I procreate, I sleep, right? So I'm ready to go when the tiger comes, right? Or I'm ready to be in action when the food opportunity is available to me, right? Very primal kind of thing. But we still have this as part of who we are as human beings, even though we have higher thinking, higher brain space. But this idea of conservation of energy. So the way I use it in a positive way is I brush my teeth every morning, right? I don't have to think about it. It's not something that is challenging to me, right? It's just a part of my habit and my routine. Recently, with a lot of people thinking about Black Lives Matter, with George Floyd's death, um, people had this like heightened awareness around this conversation. And I said, this is a conversation we've been in for a long time, but it was like, okay, it's time to renew and refresh it. I knew if I was going to actually stay in that conversation, I was going to have use conservation of energy. So I said, that's why if you get our newsletter, I have something every week that talks about Black Lives Matter in some capacity, right? I needed to put it in a way that conserved the energy so I could stay on it for the long haul. I'm committed to the long haul. So if I had it as part of my habit and my routine, this keeps me in the commitment that I say, oh yeah, every week I need to find an article, I need to have some education, I need to do something. I've made that commitment, a habit. This conserves the energy. I knew I could stick to it instead of just being in the excitement and the rah-rah and then have it go away, right? So our brain needs a conservation of energy. This is also why we stick with bad habits too, right? It's not that we're terrible people to stick with that popcorn habit or chip habit when we're watching a movie or on the computer or something like that. It's because it's easy for your brain. All right, this leads us to the second one, is that we like to avoid pain. All right, like to avoid pain. Now, two kinds of pain here. There's physical pain. We like to avoid physical pain, right? That's why we get the sensations of danger, and that brings up those thoughts. It triggers your fight or flight or freeze, right? We want to avoid pain. This is why, like, when you need to go get a tetanus booster shot, a part of you might be like, what? No. Well, okay, so a part of me, that's kind of how I react. Even though my frontal lobe thinking is like, really? It's a shot. It is painful. There is pain. It is not the most pain. It's not pain that's going to be forever, right? I have to use my frontal lobe thinking to overcome this motivation triad. I am wired to avoid pain. So when I have some gentleness of like, of course I'm having a freak out about a tetanus booster, right? Yep, that is what my brain wants to do, is just avoid physical pain. Now, we don't have that much physical pain occurrences in our everyday life anymore, right? Some people do more than others. The bigger area of pain that we try and avoid is emotional pain, is mental pain, right? So if I wanted to avoid the pain of not seeing my precious baby every day, I would have sabotaged his going to college and kept him here. That could have been something I did. But I said, I know my motivation is to avoid pain, but I'm going to use my higher thinking to really evaluate and say, am I making a decision to keep him home because I'm trying to avoid the pain of that separation, or because I have some other good reasons, which there could be some very good reasons. Obviously, there's some compelling reasons, especially right now. We're wired to avoid pain. This is why students, I have students who are 80 when they come to learn to swim. They're worried about a physical pain, but really they're wanting to avoid the emotional pain, right? And that's okay. Sometimes that's okay. But there are other times when you're like, I have a goal. I'm a person who wants to make change. We are also wired to make change, to desire change. So understanding that there's this motivation to avoid pain is part of what's blocking to come into this change. Now, the third piece of this triangle is we like to seek pleasure. Get this a little darker here. So we like to avoid pain and seek pleasure. And this is, I gave an eating example before. This is really hardwired into us. Like there's a whole system of hormones and things that get released, right? When you think about when you eat fat or you eat sugar, right? Our body has a physiological desire to seek that pleasure. We get a lot of pleasure stimulus from those foods because, you know, when food is scarce, at that base level, you want to consume as much of those calorie and energy filling things as possible. Your brain doesn't know that you're not in cave person time or you're not an animal out in the woods and food is super scarce, right? All your brain knows is there's a lot of pleasure with these foods, and so I should have more and more and more. I have to use my higher thinking, my desire for change, to be able to say, hang on, there's an abundance of fat and sugar available to me. I don't have to take it all in right now. But where our brain is wired, this motivation triad, it's very strongly wired to seek that pleasure, to avoid the physical and emotional pain, and to just do what's easy, conserve that energy. Okay. Now, why do I want you to know all this? I want you to know all this because if you are, I'm going to try changing pens here. Ooh, that one came out much darker. We operate, when our brain goes unchecked, we just operate around this over and over and over again. Your primal way of being will just rotate around these things. You know, my cat is sleeping. If like you step on his paw, he scrouches away. He stays away from my walking feet. When he hears that sound of that cat food opening, right, he wakes up and he goes to seek that pleasure, right? Primal way of being that we as humans do over and over and over again. But then we have our thinking brain that says, I have bigger things for myself. I want to be more than the cat, right? We have these goals. This is why we do things like learn to swim or want to have better relationships with our spouses or want to be the best parent, even as these little human beings change and develop. And we want to change and develop as a parent. All of these things of life. This is what takes us from very small things like, I want to knit or crochet, or for me, learn to dance, or to really big things like go to the moon, right? There's really no reason that we have to do any of these things except our humanness goes around this, but that thinking brain sees goals and potentials, and we have a desire for change. So how do I bridge this thing here? So you needed to know this because when we become aware of what motivates us, we can start to see the patterns that we have so we can break into it. This dotted line here from the known to the unknown is going to take a willingness big word, to fail. I need to have a willingness to fail. I need to have a willingness to try something, to do something. Even though I may not be avoiding some pain, right? Even though doing something new and unknown that I don't know how to do doesn't feel pleasurable right at first necessarily. And it's going to take some energy, right? I'm going to have to bring change to these areas. And what helps us do this is a willingness to fail, is a willingness to not have it right. I have no idea really how to parent an adult child. It's totally new to me. And I have to have a willingness to feel all the things and a willingness for me to mess it up and to try again. I am not going to leave that child, right? I am going to stay in the game of parenting and being in relationship with him, whatever that looks like with an adult parent-child relationship. I am going to know where I am. I'm going to allow myself to heal along the way so I can learn and I can be that best parent that I can be in a way that I've never been before. All right, this willingness to fail. Now, one of the things when you say, all right, yep, I'm willing to fail. I'm willing to try something, because when I try it, when I go out and try it and do something and get the feedback and get off this loop and get on this loop, there's going to be some things that come up. There's going to be some resistance. So I'm going to give you one more triangle here. Take this one away. Don't have enough room for 3 triangles on here. Maybe I'll go back to black. So when you say, all right, I'm going to get off of that auto motivation triad and be willing to try some things, willing to fail at some things so I can be on the foundation of change triangle. 3 very common things will come up. We see these all the time, which is the first piece. Oh, I thought that black one was going to work, but it's not. Confusion. Confusion, I don't know, and overwhelm. This is our other triangle. 3 triangles. Confusion, I don't know, and overwhelm. When you say, I'm going to make this bridge here, I'm willing to fail, very likely that these things come up, right? I don't know how to be a parent of an adult child. I don't know how to swim. That's why I'm asking you, the expert. You do it for me. Or I watch all the YouTube videos, right? I'm overwhelmed with the YouTube videos or the parenting books or the how to fix your relationship books or how to be happy all the time, right? Overwhelm. We overwhelm ourselves. This is a way not to go towards change, but to stay back in that motivational triad to conserve your energy and avoid pain and to seek pleasure, right? When we have confusion, I don't know, overwhelm, these are all the resistance. We really kind of put this in here, is a resistance to going towards making a change. So I want you to know that. I want you to have that information under your belt. So when it happens, you can be like, ah, right, yes, here you are, overwhelm. I was expecting you. Instead of having overwhelm come in and saying, I have to live in overwhelm. No, we can just greet it. Yep, all right. But you know what, overwhelm? I'm going to do it anyways. I am willing to have it not work out. I'm willing to try one of the things, not all of the things. I'm going to try one of the, oh, but I don't know which one. That will come up once you give up on over. Oh, I don't know which one to pick. We get to pick one of them, but it's so confusing and hard to know. It doesn't matter. We're going to pick one. We're going to pick one, and we're going to be willing to check it out. Be curious about it. Be gentle. That's the healing part. You now have moved into the place where you can start to learn. Maybe the one that you pick is the one that gives you a result that you love. Or maybe it gives you a result you don't love. But now you know. Ah, I learned. I did something new. It took a little energy, It took a little risk in terms of, I might have felt some pain with it and it didn't feel good, but I was willing, right? We don't want to go so far that you're scaring yourself completely and freaking yourself out. What is the tiniest thing that you can do that you'd be willing to feel whatever it is? I was willing to feel all those tears. I just let myself have them. And I said to myself, this is a good pain. I want to have this pain. It's the pain that says, I loved him so much and I'm going to miss him and it's different and it's good. Right? I was willing to feel that. When I go to text him and call him every day, I had to stop and see, what is that about? Is it time? Could I wait? How does that work out, right? So I'm learning how to be a parent of an adult child. I use this is what we use. This is the information that we use in the water. This is how we take people from being afraid to put their big toe in the water to jumping in the deep end. You don't start with the jumping in the deep end, but you start with the thing that you say, yep, I am willing to do the work to get off of the habitual motivational triad and into the purposeful one. All right, it's super fun. This is what I wanted to share with you today. I'm using it all the time. I love it. It's great. And I promised you something new here at the end. So I have my goal, what's out here, what I'm learning at, what I'm bringing a foundation of learning for is, like I said, is taking these lessons of the water and applying them to life. I use them all the time in my life and find them so successful and wonderful. And now I'm bringing it to you. I am all about bringing love and generosity and grace. And I know the way that I do that the best is with other people. Matter of fact, I had started to record this video and I was having some hiccups on how to make some transitions. And I took a pause and I went and taught a lesson. I was with another human being and together I found, oh, right, these are the words that I have to share. This is the love and the connection that I have to share. I didn't make myself wrong for not having it before. I'm full of grace. But I know we move mountains. This is one of my tenets, that we move mountains together. So I am super excited to move new mountains together with you. I'm curious about, what are your goals? Your swimming goals or your other life goals, and how I can help you. Together we can figure out, how do you get off of the old repetitive triangle and into the new. This is what life coaching is all about. So the special offer I have, because this is new for me, out on a limb, I cannot wait to have my first 5 people come in. And I know it's going to be so amazing. And I am reaching to my history to find this, because I can still remember my first 5 swimming adult students when I started teaching this way with them. I can see them in my mind's eye. I know their name. I haven't talked to them, some of them in 15 years. Some of them I'm still in touch with. They have such a special place in my heart. I love them so much. And I am super excited to find out and to meet my 5 people who are ready to jump in and say, yeah, I want to do this together. And I want to bring this life coaching to my life, to apply this to other areas than just swimming. So if that's you, if you're my person, I know you're out there. I know the first 5 of you are out there. Go ahead and email me. I'm going to have you email me at my personal email, which is Cori, Cori, spell my name with an I, C-O-R-I, at orcaswimschool.com. Now, someday I'll be big and fancy and have a whole different site and whatnot for the life coaching. But right now, just making it simple, because what's most important is to connect and to make our new things happen together. So shoot me an email, Cori, C-O-R-I, at orcaswimschool.com and say, I'm in. And my first 5 people who come in, let's do a totally free 30-minute consult. Let's talk about, you don't even have to know what it is. Let's see and figure out, what you want to bring change to in your life, right? Where is in there? Let's start to unpack it, work it together, and find out, is this the right thing for you? So, and for me, so totally free 30-minute session that's focused on you and your goals and your dreams and what you'd like to bring life and freedom to. Any area you can bring it. So, yeah, I just can't wait to see you. Again, it's Cori at orcaswimschool.com. Now, if you're a person who's like, it's interesting, I don't know that I'm an early adopter. I want to think about it for a while. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page if you haven't done that, because I'm going to be teaching these kinds of lessons, these life skill lessons, at least once a month. So the Orca Swim School page is going to be a mix, as it sort of has been for a while now, but officially now, is a mix of swim information and then these coaching sessions as well, because that's what you're here for, is to bring change. So subscribe to the page, or conversely, if you're not on our email list, pop on over to our website, orcaswimschool.com, and be on our weekly newsletter list, so you can get this information plus the articles every week. So either way, if you're jumping in, let's go. I'm excited or curious or interested or have a question, shoot me an email. If you just want to stay connected, subscribe, or join the newsletter. All right, there you go. That's what I have for you. First 5, get it free. Can't wait to see you. Bye.